How will the grid be different in 20 years? So if you think about the electric grid, and DTE is a great example, the majority of our electric grid was built in the 30s, 40s, and 50s. We had one of the first electrified cities in the world here in Detroit. By one directional flow, right? There was a large power plant, power flowed one way to the customer with what they needed. Well, today our grid's completely different already, right? We have bidirectional flow of power coming into our grid. You've got distributed energy resources that are showing up in multiple different places. You've got energy resources that have different attributes than just a central station generator, where you have 4-hour batteries, you may have solar panels, you could have, it's a host of different things that are coming. So when I think about why it's going to be, or how to be different in 20 years, what our customers require from the grid is going to be much different than what they required even today. We don't spend a lot of time talking about momentary outages, but customers, now that they're working from home, momentary outages are a big deal, right? If you're now working at home 5 days a week and all of a sudden you lose your power for 1 minute, that may not be a big issue, or it may not have been a big issue before, but it's a really big issue today. The more electronics we get in, the more electrified we make transportation. All of that is going to change the nature of the grid. It's going to make it more automated, more technology. It's going to require better cybersecurity. There's a lot of things that are going to change over the next 20 years with our grid.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I think you're going to have a much more actively participating customer than you have today, right? Customers are going to want to know their energy uses, pricing, when to charge, where to charge their vehicles. I think you're going to have a grid that is really driven by data, right? I mean, real-time data for all stakeholders, whether it's the utility, it's the end customer, so that they can make decisions in real time based on their specific needs. And then you're going to have a lot more kind of decentralized grid, where you're going to see the concepts of microgrids and others. We're already starting to see them. I mean, if we look at what happened last week in Florida with Hurricane Ian, there were something like 2.5 million customers out. Very interestingly, there's an area called Babcock Ranch, which is only about a half an hour away from Fort Myers, that did not lose any power. And they have something like a 700,000 solar panel array that they really leveraged as somewhat of a microgrid or a backup. So we're going to see a lot more of that decentralized concept, where communities will be able to manage their own resources, still obviously rely on the utility, but have a firsthand kind of managing the day-to-day consumption of energy.
Right. Well, I love where he went with customers are going to demand it, because if you think about more electrification, you're going to replace spend that you may have at a gas station today with spend you'll have on your electric bill. You're going to notice that your electric bill is going up. So you're going to want to understand, how do I control that spend? And whether that's energy waste reduction, is that participating in demand response programs that customers will be available to. The markets are going to continue to open up to allow customers direct interaction on how they use our product, when they're buying it, when they're selling it. Every home is going to start to look like a little power plant. Every car is going to look like a little power plant. Well, that requires a massive amount of technology that we need to apply, but also then give it to the customers so they know how to best use our product. That's exciting to me, and I think that's something we should all be excited about over the next 20 years.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think the role of technology, technology is it's not the driver for a digital grid, but it's certainly the enabler, right? It's an enabler, it's a catalyst for the digital grid. If you look at DERs, we're going to continue to see advancements in solar panel and battery efficiencies. And what that means is that you're going to make them available to more and more customers, right? And you're going to have a much more of mass deployment that you see today. The other kind of components around technology being an enabler, you look at the management and monitoring systems that that we're starting to see at utilities, advanced distribution management systems, distributed energy resource management systems. They're going to continue to mature and be able to really provide kind of eyes and ears into the grid to provide real-time information to operators, to other stakeholders, so that they're able to make timely decisions and be able to remotely control the grid as a potential action of those decisions.
Yes.
So that's all coming. We continue to see that maturing with more and more advanced applications and other components of those systems coming into play.